The story begins with Ji-woo, a young girl living under the shadow of her father's dangerous life. Her father is a gangster, constantly on the run, and no one really knows where he is. Every morning, as she leaves for school, a policeman is already waiting outside her building, asking her the same questions. "Where is your father? Did he contact you?" Ji-woo ignores him every time, but still, he follows her all the way to school. And things don't get any easier there. The girls in her class openly mock her, whispering that only children from respectable families belong in that school, and that someone like her doesn't deserve to be there. Even during recess, she stays alone, completely isolated, with no one willing to stand by her side. One day, she notices police officers talking to the principal, and shortly after, a teacher calls her into the office. That's when she finds out the school has decided to expel her. Other parents have complained, saying they don't want their daughters studying alongside the child of a gangster. As she walks out of the office, she suddenly receives a birthday message from her father on her phone, sent from an unknown number. Back in the classroom, the same girls begin harassing her again, mocking her and saying, "Look, your father forgot his packet of goods." This time, Ji-woo loses control. She throws the packet straight at one girl's face, and a fight breaks out. Ji-woo overpowers all three of them with ease, and coldly says that she is a gangster's daughter. Just then, the teacher rushes in. Ji-woo quietly removes her school badge, hands it over, and announces that she's leaving. Outside, filled with anger, she starts smashing the policeman's car before running away. He chases after her, shouting for her to stop, but Ji-woo doesn't look back. She runs straight to the riverbank, the same place she used to visit with her father. That evening, when she returns home, the policeman is still there and mocks her again, asking if she just came back after meeting her father. Ji-woo says nothing and quietly walks into her apartment. Outside her door, she notices a cake and a gift left there, both sent by her father. Instead of feeling happy, she gets angry and kicks them aside before going inside. Her phone keeps ringing again and again as her father tries to call, but she refuses to answer. Finally, she picks up. He wishes her a happy birthday and apologizes for not being able to come. He tells her that he left a cake and an iPad for her, and asks how her studies are going. Hearing this, Ji-woo breaks down. She tells him everything, that the police have been following her for an entire month, that the girls at school keep bullying her, and that everyone calls her a gangster's daughter. Her father is shocked, and asks why she didn't tell him earlier. She replies angrily that his phone is always switched off, so how was she supposed to reach him? He promises her that he will fix everything. But Ji-woo, filled with pain and anger, tells him that he is as good as dead to her, and that he should never come near her again. Those words hit him hard. He turns his phone on and sees all the messages she had sent him, desperate cries for help over the past month. Without wasting a second, he sends his driver away and rushes straight to her building. The moment he arrives, he attacks the police officers who were watching her home. Then, as he steps into the hallway, he notices the cake and the gift still lying there, completely untouched. He tries to open Ji-woo's door using a spare key, but it's locked from the inside. The noise wakes her up. At that very moment, a man wearing a hood appears in the corridor. Ji-woo's father immediately senses the danger and grips the door tightly from the outside so she cannot open it. Ji-woo looks through the peephole and sees her father standing there. A second later, the hooded man fires a shot, and her father is hit. She tries to open the door from inside, but he holds it firmly and pleads, asking them not to hurt his daughter. The killer fires again, and then disappears. Even in pain, her father manages to break the key inside the lock to keep her safe. From the other side of the door, Ji-woo hears his fading voice as he apologizes to her, saying she suffered because of him. Finally, she forces the door open and screams for help, but no one comes. The next day, during the funeral, a man named Choi arrives along with his men. He lights a cigarette, places it gently in the incense burner, and pays his respects. Ji-woo confronts him, asking what he made her father do, why he died like that, and who was responsible. Choi calmly replies that her father was his closest friend, like a brother, and that he was a good man. But he doesn't give her any real answers and simply leaves. A few days later, Ji-woo goes to the police station and questions why her father's case was closed so quickly. The officer tells her that there were no witnesses and no weapon found. She then shows him CCTV footage of the hooded man, insisting that this is the killer and asking why they aren't arresting him. The officer shrugs and says he had been asking her for a month, and if she had spoken earlier, things might have been different. He adds that people don't kill without a reason. With that thought burning in her mind, Ji-woo takes a box and goes straight to Choi, her father's boss. He lets her inside. Ji-woo places the box in front of him and shows him a printed image from the CCTV footage, telling him that this is the man who killed her father. "Your friend's killer," she says. Choi looks at her and calmly asks, "If he finds the man, what will she do?" Ji-woo replies coldly that she will kill him herself. Choi then asks if she even knows how to kill. He hands her a knife and tells her to stab him, to pretend that he is the one who killed her father, but Ji-woo can't do it. Her hands start shaking, and she freezes completely. Disappointed, Choi strikes her and orders his men to throw her out. Ji-woo quietly picks up her box and leaves. That same night, the killer returns. This time, Ji-woo clearly sees his face. He bangs on her door repeatedly, but she refuses to open it, and eventually he walks away. Ji-woo runs after him, desperate to attack, but he disappears into the darkness. Determined, she decides to find him herself. She prints dozens of copies of the killer's face from the CCTV footage and pastes them all over streets, walls, and neighborhoods. Choi happens to see one of these posters while passing by and quietly takes it with him. Later that night, Ji-woo receives a call from an unknown number. The man on the phone claims that he knows the killer and tells her to bring money in exchange for the address. Ji-woo takes the cash her father left behind, along with a knife, and heads to the location. But the men waiting for her turn out to be local thugs. The moment she hands over the money, almost 100,000, they begin beating her brutally. Ji-woo fights back with everything she has, but she is outnumbered and eventually gets overpowered. They knock her unconscious, throw her into the trunk of a car, and drive off. Suddenly, she hears a loud crash, the sound of another vehicle slamming into theirs. Then come the sounds of a violent fight outside, someone taking down the thugs one by one. Inside the trunk, terrified, Ji-woo grips her knife tightly, preparing to defend herself. Moments later, the trunk opens, and a strong hand snatches the knife away. Standing in front of her is Choi, her father's closest friend. He looks at her with anger and says that if she wanted to die, she could have chosen a better way, because if she keeps acting like this, someone will actually kill her. Ji-woo, still shaken, replies that the police are doing nothing. He is doing nothing, and asks if she is supposed to live as if nothing ever happened. Choi looks at her, seeing both defeat and determination, and finally says that if she truly wants to kill the man, then she must first learn how to kill. He takes Ji-woo to his training base, an underground facility where young men are trained to fight. Until now, no woman had ever entered that place, and Ji-woo becomes the first. Choi introduces her to everyone and tells them that she is a new member who needs to be trained. Immediately, all the boys stare at her with curiosity and judgment. One of them takes her to her room and tells her that from now on, she will have to do everything: cleaning, washing, and all the chores, just like he did when he first joined. He then points toward a building in the distance and tells her that once she is properly trained, she will practice there. After wishing her luck, he leaves. Ji-woo carefully places her father's ashes on a stone slab, but her peace doesn't last long. The boys begin making her do all their work. Some mock her, some bully her, and one even tries to show off in a strange way to impress her. They treat her badly and constantly block her whenever she tries to join the training sessions. When one of the boys tries to tease her again during training, Ji-woo finally fights back. A scuffle breaks out, but the coach quickly steps in and orders everyone to return to their routines. That night, after everyone has gone to sleep, Ji-woo quietly continues practicing on her own. Choi notices her and asks if she's planning to run away, but Ji-woo firmly replies that she's planning to win. Choi tells her that winning isn't enough. She needs to finish her enemy. He explains that she must fight with her mind, not just her strength, and shows her where to strike: the temples, the jaw, the chest, and when needed, how to completely break an opponent. From that moment, he begins training her personally. Ji-woo proves to be quick and sharp, learning every move he teaches, but Choi points out that while she has skill, she still lacks power. Determined to succeed and avenge her father, Ji-woo trains relentlessly, imagining the killer in front of her with every strike she makes. Days later, Choi organizes a brutal competition. All the new recruits, including Ji-woo, are locked inside a cage and forced to fight until only one person remains. The winner will earn a week of rest and prize money. After a chaotic and intense battle, only two fighters are left standing: Ji-woo and a man known as Scissors. Both have fought their way through countless opponents, but while one fights for thrill, the other fights with purpose. And in the end, purpose wins. Choi declares Ji-woo the victor. Later, when Scissors regains consciousness, his friends provoke him. That night, as Ji-woo is cleaning the ring, Scissors approaches her. Ji-woo apologizes, but he calmly says it was just a fight and someone had to lose. However, when he returns to his group, he secretly reveals that he has drugged her drink. Soon, Ji-woo begins to feel dizzy, her vision blurring as she realizes too late what has happened. Scissors and his friend drag her away, trying to take advantage of her weakened state. Even then, Ji-woo struggles and fights back, pushing one of them away. In the chaos, the container holding her father's ashes falls and breaks, scattering them across the floor. Even in that condition, she keeps fighting. Enraged, Scissors grabs a hammer and raises it to strike. But at that exact moment, Choi bursts in and stops everything instantly, pulling Ji-woo away to safety. Choi then turns to Scissors, raising his hand and calmly asking which part of his body should be taken in return: his face, his hands, or his legs. Terrified, Scissors begs for forgiveness, reminding Choi of his loyalty. Choi replies that the only reason he is still alive is because of that loyalty, but makes it clear that he should never have touched her. Then, in a shocking move, Choi takes a knife and cuts Ji-woo's face, leaving a deep scar, one meant to remind her forever of her mistake. When Ji-woo regains consciousness, the first thing she does is gather her father's ashes back into a box, breaking down completely in grief. Choi's trusted man, Taeju, approaches her and tells her that if she wants to cry, she should leave this place. He says that he knew her father well, and that he was never meant for this life. And neither is she. Later, Choi calls Ji-woo to meet him at a restaurant. He tells her to understand one thing, that the girl she was died last night, and today she has been reborn. He then places a revolver on the table and tells her that this is the same gun that was used to kill her father, a weapon that belongs to the police department. That means, your father's killer is a police officer. Find him and kill him. Yeah. And from that moment, Ju's real training begins. She spends the next 4 years learning everything: combat, endurance, strategy, discipline. Not just fighting, but surviving. By 2019, she joins the police force herself. She has 2 goals. First, to find and kill the officer who murdered her father. And second, to protect Choi's organization from the inside. Now by 2021, she's sent on a mission. While chasing a suspect, she follows him into a building, leaving her partner outside. Inside, something feels off. Jo discovers a hidden operation. Different illegal activities are happening across the entire building. She finds an unconscious girl, tries to wake her up, but nothing. So yeah, she hides, and quietly observes another room, where a drug deal is going down. The man delivering the package? Pildu. The deal is just about to close when suddenly Ju charges in. She takes everyone down, completely disrupts the scene, and yeah, ruins the narcotics department's 6 months of undercover work. Pildu immediately identifies himself and tells her, "You've destroyed everything. This was my case." Still, Ju arrests one of the criminals for murder. But just moments later, she gets a call from her superior, ordering her to hand the suspect over to PDU's team. She listens and leaves. The next day, Ju goes to the narcotics department headquarters, and there, she meets Captain Cha. Yeah, the same man who came to her house years ago, the night her father was killed. She recognizes him, but she's not completely sure. The captain takes her to his office and says, "You ruined last night's mission, and you did it without proper evidence." Jo replies, "Give me a chance to catch that man. I'll make him confess." He asks her again, "Why do you want to join my team?" She stays silent. He asks her again. Still, nothing. Then he just nods and says, "Welcome to the team." That night, Ju rides her motorcycle and goes to meet Choi. He asks how things are going in the police. Ju says, "I'm moving into the narcotics division. From there, I can trace the gun. I suspect Captain Cha." Choi looks around and says, "Look at this building. Your father saved my life here, 10 years ago. The photo on my desk was taken in this place." And then, he hands her a knife. "Find the one who killed my friend, and end him." Back at the station, officers start interrogating the suspect Ju arrested. He finally breaks, and reveals that a new supply of drugs has entered the market, controlled by someone named Mangu. Pildu quickly calls his informant and tells him to track Mangu down. At the same time, he spots Ju in the hallway and asks, "What are you doing here?" She calmly replies, "I've been transferred." Just then, the captain walks in, shows her to her desk, and tells Pildu, "From now on, she works with you." Yeah, Pildu clearly doesn't like that, but he can't exactly argue with the captain, so instead, he updates him about Mangu. The captain just says, Take her. Ju's new teammates aren't happy at all. I mean, she literally ruined their operation. They want her out. But before anything else happens, Pildu gets a call. His informant has Mangu's location. Meanwhile, on the other side, Choi receives a massive order for illegal goods. Taeju warns him, "Ju joining the narcotics division. That's dangerous for us." "I need to keep an eye on her," he says, "and if she makes even one mistake, I'll eliminate her myself." Now, back in the city, Pildu brings Ju to an underground parking lot. He tells her, "Go inside and catch Mangu." As soon as Ju enters, a guard tries to stop her. But yeah, she takes him down instantly. Pildu's plan is pretty simple. Either Ju fails and gets kicked out of the unit, or Mangu tries to escape, and Pildu catches him outside. But things don't go the way he expected. Ju is way better than he thought. Years of training have made her strong, fast, and precise. Time passes. Pildu starts getting impatient, so he goes inside. And what he sees completely shocks him. Ju has already taken down everyone, including Mangu, and she didn't let him escape. Pildu walks up and asks, "Where are the goods?" Mangu insists, "There's nothing here." Nearby, a group of men gambling panic, thinking it's a police raid, and quickly pull out their IDs. Mangu then says to Pildu, "Brother, why are you ruining the business? I told you there's nothing here. If you want to search, check the other place." But Ju isn't convinced. She feels like Mangu is hiding something. While checking the bar counter, she notices a bottle containing a new kind of drug. So yeah, the team captures Mangu and takes him in. Before leaving, Pildu looks at Ju and says, "You beat everyone just to show your strength. If you ever do that again, make sure you're wearing a bulletproof vest." Back at the station, Pildu begins interrogating Mangu. "Tell me," he says, "who created that drug?" Mangu replies, "You'll never catch him. He's dangerous. Beyond dangerous." "Yeah, he's talking about none other than Scissors, now a dominant figure in the drug world." Joe informs Choi that Mangu has been caught, but he still hasn't revealed who he works for. Choi simply tells her, "Find out." So Ju starts digging. Using her undercover identity, she searches the police database and enters her father's name. And that's when she finds something shocking. Taeju was present the night her father died. One day later, Captain Cha also visits the exact same location where her father was murdered. Meanwhile, Choi tells Taegu, "We've got a problem. A new product is in the market, and our clients might start switching sides." The next evening, a police officer informs Captain Cha that the target has moved. He immediately orders the team to prepare. All weapons are collected and secured. Every officer is gathered in a briefing room. Even their phones are taken away, to prevent any leaks. Then Captain Cha finally reveals, "Tonight, our target is Choi. His operation controls 90% of the drugs in this country." He lays out the plan. The main factory is hidden inside a large cargo ship. Choi is expected to reach there in 50 minutes. The narcotics division will infiltrate the ship, while the rest provide backup. And without wasting time, they move out. Soon the team positions themselves on a nearby ship, waiting. Then Choi arrives. He enters the factory, the one he recently took over. Captain Cha gives the order. "Team A, move in." And yeah, Ju is tense. She can't let Choi get caught, but she has no phone, no way to warn him. Inside, the officers spread out across the ship. Ju spots Choi and subtly signals him. Police are here. At the same time, Choi's men notice Pildu recording everything and attack him. They try to destroy his camera, but Pildu pushes through, reaches Choi, and points his weapon at him. Hands up. And then, a gunshot echoes through the ship. The lights go out. In that chaos, Choi sets the warehouse on fire, destroying the entire factory, just to make sure the police get nothing. Through the smoke, while escaping, he sees Ju. She has a clear shot, but she doesn't fire. Choi and Taeju jump into the water and disappear. The entire narcotics division comes up empty-handed. During the investigation, officers realize something strange. 2 shots were fired inside. Quietly, Ju places the revolver, the same one used to kill her father, at the scene, and tells Captain Cha, "I found this here. Someone tried to erase the serial number." Meanwhile, Choi storms into his hideout, furious. "Captain Cha is after me," he says. Taeju turns to Ju and asks, "Why didn't you warn us?" But Choi says nothing. He just walks away. A little later, Captain Cha gets a call. "We checked our team's weapons. None of us fired." Jo sits inside a car, takes out her hidden phone, and calls Choi. But Choi, angry, feeling betrayed, doesn't pick up. Back at the station, Cha personally inspects every officer's gun. None of them show any sign of being fired. Later, during dinner, Ju asks Pildu, "Why are you so obsessed with catching Choi?" Pildu replies, "He's one of the biggest suppliers out there. He recently killed one of our agents. We have to bring him down." Just then, another officer joins their table. Ju quietly steps aside and calls Choi again. "I didn't know about the raid beforehand," she tells him, "but listen carefully. This is serious. There are 3 hidden cameras inside your hotel. They're tracking your every move and sending everything to the narcotics division." She explains that she had no way to warn him, except firing that shot to create confusion. This time, Choi listens, and immediately, he shuts down all the hidden cameras. Back at the station, officers notice something's wrong. "We've lost access," they report. "One more failure for Captain Cha." And yeah, it's starting to get to him. He's getting desperate. Meanwhile, Scissors, along with his partner, is ready for revenge. They gather their men and leave their hideout. Their destination? The same gym, where everything began 5 years ago. Choi's gym, armed with knives. They storm inside. Chaos. 9 boys are injured, some of them critically. Taeju is there too. Scissors doesn't kill him. Instead, he breaks his arm and leaves him alive, just like what happened years ago. Later that night, as Captain Cha leaves his office, someone follows him. The captain meets a man in secret and hands over the serial number of the gun. At the lab, they manage to restore the number, the one that was scratched off. And then, police sirens. A swarm of officers arrives at Choi's gym. Several people are dead, others badly wounded. Ju rushes to Taeju, injured, barely holding on, and helps get him into an ambulance. Seeing Taeju's condition, Jo turns to Pildu and asks, "Was Choi there? Did he get killed too?" Pildu replies, "No, he wasn't anywhere near the scene." During the investigation, officers find drugs inside the gym. They search the surrounding area, check CCTV footage. But yeah, nothing useful comes up. Meanwhile, Choi visits a memorial site to honor the men who died in the attack. Ju goes there too, wanting to see him. But the moment she notices Captain Cha and Pildu approaching, she quickly hides her face with her helmet. Yeah, they're there for the same reason, to pay their respects. Taeju steps forward and stops Pildu, saying only one person is allowed inside. So the captain goes in, alone, and comes face to face with Choi. Immediately, Choi's men surround him, but Captain Cha stays calm. He says, "There's a saying, a dog's life depends on its owner. If the owner is good, the dog lives comfortably. If the owner is bad, the dog dies in the street." Choi looks at him and replies, "If you weren't a police officer, you would have tried to bite me already. And yeah, you win today. But you'll never be able to catch me." After the captain leaves, Choi turns to his men and says, "If you've got something to say, contact me directly." Elsewhere, Scissors and his partner celebrate the attack on Choi's gym. They talk about Ju, the creature who disappeared years ago. And this time, they make a promise. They will find her and finish her. Back at the police station, Pildu's partner shows him a photo from a car's dash cam. It clearly shows the man behind the gym attack, Scissors. Ju sees it too, and instantly recognizes him. But she says nothing. Now both sides are waiting. The police. For Choi to make a move. And Choi, preparing for revenge. Because he knows, if he stays silent, his entire gang could fall apart. That's when Captain Cha gives a shocking order. "Release Mangu." Let's see what Choi does next. Jo immediately objects. If 2 gangs collide, a lot of people will die. But the captain replies coldly, "If bad people die, it doesn't matter." Jo doesn't argue further. Instead, she secretly sends a message to Choi. "Mangu is being released. It's a trap." Choi reads it, and immediately calls Taeju. "Recall everyone," he says. "The captain thinks I'm the fool, but he's the real one." Captain Cha gathers his team and says, "There's good news. One of their men is going to join us. And if that happens, Choi's gang will fall apart from the inside." Ju hears this and immediately sends Choi another message, then rides off on her motorcycle. Meanwhile, Taeju is returning from a client meeting. Inside his car, there's an envelope. It contains pills and a small ladder symbol. He has no idea it's been planted to frame him. Ju reaches the spot where the captain was earlier. Her eyes drift toward a building across the street. Someone is taking photos from a distance. So yeah, she heads there to investigate. At the same time, Taeju arrives. But instead of stepping out, he just stays inside his car. Jo climbs up the opposite building, trying to see who was taking those photos and who the captain was meeting. And then, Pildu shows up. The moment she sees him, she tries to escape. There's a brief struggle, but she manages to get away. As she rides past the captain again, she notices something. Taeju. walking toward him, and that's when it clicks. This was all a setup, a trap, to identify the traitor inside Choi's team. Later, Pildu shows the photos to Captain Cha. The captain looks at them and says, "There's someone among us who's loyal to Choi. Ever since she arrived, our operations have been failing. I suspect Ju." Back at home, Ju quickly tells Choi that Taeju was at the meeting spot. Just then, Taeju walks in. He casually says his client meeting went well. But yeah, things have changed. Choi doesn't trust him anymore. Without hesitation, he orders Taeju to leave. The letter found in Taeju's car reads, "If you want to know where Scissors is, come to the address below." It was a trap, set by Captain Cha, sent through a delivery service, disguised as something from Choi's own organization. The next day, Ju starts tracing the revolver. She finds the serial number, but not the name of the officer it was issued to, so she digs deeper. And finally, she gets a name, Jang Soo. She goes to Captain Song and asks, "Who is Jang Soo?" The gun was issued to him. As she waits for the answer, her hand slowly grips the dagger Choi gave her, ready, just in case. If Cha claims that weapon, she's prepared to kill him. But Cha says, "Jang Soo was part of my team. He died in his first week. Choi killed him." That hits hard. Ju is shaken, because now all the evidence points toward Choi. So she confronts him directly, asks him about Jang Soo, but Choi denies everything. "The captain is lying," he says. "Never believe him." Back at the station, Pildu walks up to her and says, "Let's go. Dinner?" She refuses, saying she has work, but Pildu doesn't believe her and secretly follows. Ju moves from place to place, questioning people about Scissors and Mangu, and eventually enters the basement of a building. While she's inside, Pildu quietly slips into her car and waits in the driver's seat. When she returns, he looks at her and asks what she's doing there. Ju calmly replies that she's trying to find information about Mangu and Scissors. Just then, they both spot Mangu nearby, and Pildu immediately decides to join her. Together, they begin following his car. Meanwhile, Choi heads to his favorite restaurant for dinner, unaware of what's about to unfold. Mangu drives toward an abandoned factory, and Ju and Pildu park behind it, climb over the wall and sneak inside. The place used to be a car manufacturing plant, now silent and empty. They hide and observe from a distance as Scissors arrives and meets Mangu, handing him a fresh supply of drugs. After taking the package, Mangu leaves. At the same time, inside the restaurant, Choi suddenly senses danger. Thinking quickly, he sends the owner outside to buy cigarettes, using it as an excuse to protect him. The moment the owner steps out, Choi attacks the men waiting to kill him. Back at the factory, Scissors realizes that Ju and Pildu are watching and immediately sends his men to eliminate them. Ju and Pildu fight back, taking down several attackers, but the situation quickly turns against them. Meanwhile, Choi continues fighting off the assassins, but during the struggle, one of them manages to stab him. Inside the factory, Scissors' men overpower Ju and Pildu, capture them, and drag them in front of him. The moment Scissors sees Ju, he smiles, as if meeting an old enemy after years. He greets her coldly, reminding her that it's been a long time, and orders his men to throw both of them into a car. Their hands are tied as a hydraulic press is switched on, slowly moving to crush the vehicle. Ju and Pildu struggle desperately to free themselves, but nothing works. At the same time, Scissors contacts his men to confirm if Choi is dead, but instead Choi himself answers the call, saying that all of his men are gone. In response, Scissors sends him a photo of Ju and warns him to come quickly if he wants to save her. As the press descends and the metal begins to bend, the tension rises. But suddenly, Choi crashes his car into the factory's electrical panel. Sparks fly, the power cuts out, and the press stops just in time. Ju manages to crawl out of the car as police sirens begin echoing in the distance. In the chaos, Choi disappears into the night. The police arrive shortly after and rescue both Ju and Pildu. Exhausted and overwhelmed, Ju finally collapses. Her leg had been stabbed, and from the blood loss, Ju eventually loses consciousness. Later, Taeju meets Choi and asks why he didn't take him along. Choi suddenly grabs him by the throat and asks a simple but heavy question. "Can I trust you?" Taeju stays silent, unable to answer. At the hospital, Captain Cha is furious with Pildu for acting without orders, but Pildu doesn't back down and continues questioning Ju about Scissors. Meanwhile, Taeju captures Mangu, hangs him upside down and tries to force information out of him about Scissors. Mangu insists he doesn't know anything. At the same time, the police are interrogating others as well, using force and pressure, but no one seems to know where Scissors is hiding. Taeju eventually returns to Choi and apologizes, saying he couldn't find them. But Choi remains calm and simply tells him to let it go and offers to get him a proper meal. In the hospital, Ju is still recovering, but her mind isn't at peace. She keeps having nightmares. Pildu gently wakes her and tells her he doesn't know who she's really trying to catch, but whoever it is, he's willing to help. He brings her clean clothes and later takes her out to lunch with his team. While they're eating, Tae-ju secretly takes her photo and sends it to Choi. After seeing the photo, Choi makes a decision. He hands Ju's passport to his lawyer and says she's his friend's daughter. He orders him to book her a flight, arrange her stay, and make sure she leaves the country safely. Choi then calls Ju and tells her everything is ready, but Ju refuses to go. Choi warns her that if Scissors gets caught, he will expose everything. Ju calmly replies that she will handle Scissors herself. Back at the station, Captain Cha demands Ju's call records from the last 3 months. When she returns to duty, a colleague tells her to get a gun issued, as the captain wants her armed until the case is closed. Just then, the same inspector who once monitored Ju's childhood home appears. He greets her warmly and tells the captain that she used to work with him in the anti-violence division. It's a lie. Outside, Ju confronts him and asks why he said that. He quietly tells her that Captain Cha has reopened her father's case. He also reveals something shocking, that Cha arrested her father, but he was not the one who killed him. That same night, the inspector meets Choi and questions him about what he's planning with Ju. Choi calmly replies that it was her choice. The inspector then demands money to stay silent, but Choi decides otherwise. He eliminates him, believing that in this world, even small threats cannot be ignored. Later, Ju tracks down Mangu at his hideout and confronts him. She threatens to tell Choi that he was working with Scissors during the gym attack. Terrified, Mangu begs her not to. Jo demands answers, forcing him to reveal what he knows. After that, Ju calls Choi and tells him she's preparing to leave the country. At the same time, Scissors contacts Captain Cha with an offer. He says he can help catch Choi, but in return he wants to disappear afterward. When Choi hears about this deal, he informs Tae-ju. Tae-ju immediately panics, saying that if Scissors reveals anything, they're finished. But Choi remains confident and simply says he trusts him. Choi tells Tae-ju to stay back, saying that if anything happens to him, someone needs to take over. Meanwhile, Scissors heads to the meeting location with his men, unaware that the police are already hiding nearby, waiting. After some time, Choi arrives with his own crew. Scissors grows uneasy and keeps calling Captain Cha, but there's no response. Stepping out of his car, Choi coldly says, "Won't you welcome us?" That's all it takes. Scissors steps out too, and within seconds, a violent clash erupts between both sides. The police deliberately hold back, choosing not to intervene immediately. They want the chaos to unfold, contained but not stopped, as if even death feels easier than what's coming next. In the middle of the fight, Scissors and Choi face off directly, their clash brutal and relentless. But in the chaos, Scissors manages to break away and run. Choi doesn't hesitate and chases after him. At the same time, Captain Cha finally gives the order, sending his entire team in to arrest everyone. Ju arrives just as the chase moves onto a massive industrial machine. She sees Choi climbing up after Scissors. At the top, Choi catches him, and the two begin a savage fight. Ju runs toward them, but a policeman spots her. Up there, Scissors repeatedly stabs Choi, pushing him to the edge. Just when it seems like it's over, Ju arrives and points her gun straight at Scissors, shouting at Choi to run. Scissors looks directly at her and mocks her, telling her to shoot if she truly has the courage, reminding her that taking a life isn't easy. In that moment, Choi manages to escape, climbing down and fleeing in his car while Captain Cha watches helplessly. Then, unexpectedly, Scissors raises his hands and surrenders, shouting that he will tell them everything. A policeman behind Ju yells at her not to shoot, but she pulls the trigger. The officer rushes forward and snatches the gun from her hand, but it's already done. As Choi escapes the battleground, Tae-ju picks him up and drives him through a tunnel, handing him a new phone and telling him to take care of himself before disappearing into the night. Ju, shaken to her core, realizes she has taken a life for the first time. Pildu is just as disturbed, unsure of what consequences await her now. Choi eventually reaches a temple and collapses, where the monks take him in and treat his wounds. Meanwhile, Pildu, worried about Ju, goes to check on her at home. She reassures him softly that she's feeling better. When he asks if she killed Scissors, she quietly explains that he had tried to drug and hurt her. Exhausted, she falls asleep mid-conversation, and Pildu leaves silently. Elsewhere, Choi regains consciousness at the temple, and the monk caring for him tells him he never expected to see him again, and urges him to rest. Back in the city, Captain Cha orders a full search of every hospital, convinced that Choi must be receiving treatment somewhere. Just then, Ju's doorbell rings. She steps outside and finds a small packet lying there. Inside, there's a photograph, her father in a police uniform. Before she can even process it, her phone starts ringing. It's Choi. He gives her an address and tells her to come immediately. Ju reaches the temple and confronts him directly, telling him her father was a policeman. Choi nods and admits it. Yes, he was an officer, but he also worked with them. He saved Choi's life. Bringing her inside, Choi finally tells her everything. Memories of her father, moments they shared, and the debt he owed him. Jo asks why he never told her the truth before. Choi calmly replies that he wanted her to discover it on her own. Meanwhile, Pildu tracks Choi's location and reaches the temple, showing Choi's picture to a monk. The monk denies knowing anything. With no leads, Pildu heads straight to Captain Cha, who is half drunk, weighed down by failure. Not catching Choi has become personal for him. Pildu reassures him that they will catch him. At the same time, Taeju receives a call from Choi. Choi orders him to kill Captain Cha, believing that Ju won't be able to do it herself. Taeju heads to the captain's building and disables the CCTV cameras. Unaware of what's coming, Pildu escorts the drunk captain upstairs and offers to stay the night, but Cha refuses and sends him home. Moments later, Ju arrives at the building and rushes inside, but before she can reach the captain, Taeju attacks him, stabbing him repeatedly before escaping. Ju notices blood on the door handle and enters carefully. Inside, Captain Cha, injured and panicked, fires his gun at her, and the bullet grazes her hand. Hearing the gunshot, Pildu immediately stops outside. Ju didn't come there to kill him, she came for answers. She asks him how her father really died. In that moment, Cha realizes who she is. He looks at her and says she's that policeman's daughter. Then he reveals the truth. Her father was not part of Choi's gang. He was a real officer. He questions her, asking why she's working for someone like Choi, warning her that he's dangerous. As police sirens grow closer, Captain Cha hands Ju a bag and tells her to run. Without hesitation, she jumps out the window and escapes. Back in her car, Ju opens the bag. Inside is evidence, everything against Choi. But one thing stands out more than anything else: the lighter Choi always carried. And hidden inside it is a tracker. The lighter, it was given to Choi by Ju's father. And when Choi discovered the truth behind it, he reacted with uncontrollable rage. Inside the bag were also letters. Letters Ju's father had written to Captain Cha, explaining that he was going to meet his daughter on the night he died. That same night, Taeju had called Choi while he was driving. Choi went there himself, and it was him who shot Ju's father. Among all the evidence, there was one more letter, this time written for Ju. Before she could even process everything, police and paramedics flooded the area, forcing her to run before anyone could see her. The letter read like a final whisper from the past. He wrote that he always wanted to protect her, that if life ever became difficult, or if she ever felt lost, she should come to him and never hide her pain. He spoke about worrying over the kind of man she might fall in love with someday, about wanting to see her children grow, about dreams that might never come true, and if he were gone, she should still live happily, live a good life. He ended it simply. He loved her. And just like that, Ju breaks down. Every memory comes rushing back. Choi asking her why revenge mattered so much, the gun he placed in her hands, the lies he fed her, telling her that her father's killer was a police officer, pushing her toward murder, the knife he gave her, the constant manipulation, everything. Realizing how many times Choi used her, Ju steps out of her car and collapses into tears, completely shattered by the betrayal. Later, Ju hides the cut on her face with makeup and goes to the hospital. She asks Pildu about Captain Cha's condition. Pildu explains that the captain was upset the previous night, that he dropped him home and then someone attacked him. He suspects Choi was behind it. Just then, a doctor arrives with news. The operation was successful and the captain survived. Meanwhile, Taeju calls Choi and informs him of the same. Choi immediately understands the danger. If the captain recovers, everything could fall apart. The next morning, Choi receives a call from Ju. She warns him that the police are actively looking for him and that it's not safe to go outside. But Choi ignores her warning and prepares to leave anyway. At the same time as Ju steps out of her house, she is suddenly ambushed by 3 men. They drag her into a bathroom and try to kill her, but she fights back with everything she has and kills all 3. Just then, Taeju appears. He reminds her how she came to them, accusing them of killing her father, calling her the daughter of a traitor. Ju stares at him and says the truth. He killed her father. Taeju doesn't deny it. Instead, he says that Choi personally kills traitors, listening to their final breath. What follows is a brutal fight. Fast, intense, perfectly matched. But in the end, Jo wins. She kills Taeju. And as he takes his last breath, he looks at her and says that she has become a monster, just like Choi. Back at the police station, an officer reports Choi's location. But before anyone can act, something unexpected happens. Choi walks in, on his own, and surrenders. Pildu immediately calls Ju and tells her to come to the station. He then faces Choi and asks him directly if he committed the murders. Choi calmly replies that there are only 2 kinds of people in this world: the killers and the killed. Either you kill, or you get killed. Pildu pushes back, telling him he's wrong to think he's the killer. Choi just smirks and asks if Pildu is now going to teach him right and wrong. Moments later, Choi's lawyer arrives. And right behind him, Jo walks in. Jo walks up to Choi and asks him directly why he surrendered. Choi calmly replies that he wants to prove his innocence. Jo doesn't hesitate. She tells him the truth. He didn't kill Scissors, and he didn't kill Captain Cha. She saw Scissors stab his own man, and the police also have a knife with Choi's fingerprints on it. She tells him his game is over, and then walks out. Moments later, an officer from another department arrives and hands Pildu the call records that Captain Cha had requested earlier. At the same time, Ju heads to the evidence room and asks for everything related to Scissors' murder. She retrieves a knife that belongs to Choi, and the officer reminds her to return it by 6. Once outside, Ju calls Choi and tells him that she has removed all the evidence. Meanwhile, Pildu is going through her call records and notices something disturbing. Ju has been calling Choi repeatedly. Then his partner shows him CCTV footage from the captain's backyard, and they realize that Ju was present the night of the stabbing. Without wasting time, they rush out to stop her. An announcement echoes through the station. Ju must not be allowed to leave the building, but Ju already knows what's coming. She jumps onto her motorcycle and speeds past the station, escaping before anyone can stop her. At the same time, Choi walks out of the station with his lawyer. The lawyer argues that there's no point in holding him anymore since there's no evidence left. Inside the station, the entire police team is furious. Ju's betrayal hits hard. Some officers are convinced she's the one who attacked the captain. Pildu, however, is shattered. He trusted her. As they drive away, the lawyer asks Choi why he surrendered in the first place, saying it didn't seem like he cared about getting caught. Choi reveals the truth. He needed to test Ju. He couldn't bring himself to kill her directly. The lawyer questions why Ju would still be loyal to him after everything. Choi simply smiles and says that manipulation is what he does. Out on the road, Ju stops her bike for a moment and throws the knife with Choi's fingerprints into the sea, erasing the last piece of evidence. Meanwhile, Choi learns about Taeju's death and goes to the gym to see his body. He notices something chilling. Taeju was killed with the same knife he once gave to Ju. In that moment, Choi understands everything. She couldn't kill him at the station, so she killed Taeju instead. One of his men suggests they go after her immediately, but Choi stops him. He says there's no need. She will come to him on her own. He believes he is her purpose. Later, Choi returns home and burns the photograph of the house he once dreamed of giving to Ju. At the same time, Pildu continues investigating at Captain Cha's house when his partner calls with shocking news: Ju doesn't even exist in the system. Choi had erased her identity completely. They rush to Ju's home, only to find it destroyed, vandalized beyond recognition. Meanwhile, Ju rides toward Choi's house, but on the way, she crosses paths with Pildu. The moment she sees him, she speeds away. Pildu immediately gives chase. Ju races across an open field on her motorcycle, trying to escape, while Pildu eventually abandons his bike and continues chasing her on foot. In the chaos, Ju stumbles and falls. Pildu catches up, points his gun at her, and finally handcuffs her. "Enough," Pildu says. "Stop testing me." He arrests Ju and takes her back to the police station. The officers there are already angry and suspicious, and the moment she walks in, the hostility is obvious. Meanwhile, Choi asks his lawyer how to get her released, but the lawyer explains that she was caught on CCTV stealing evidence, and getting her out won't be easy. Inside the station, Pildu confronts her directly and asks why she attacked the captain. Jo quietly responds, asking if he would believe her if she said she didn't. Pildu looks at her and says, "Trust me today." But she lowers her eyes and answers that he can't. The only person who can prove her innocence is the captain himself. Ju is locked in a cell, waiting. Choi, on the outside, orders his lawyer to find a way to get her out. The lawyer visits her and points out her injuries, demanding she be given medical treatment. Pildu refuses at first, unwilling to let any tricks happen now, but the lawyer reminds him that the media would love to hear that Choi had an informant inside the narcotics unit. Not wanting a scandal, Pildu personally escorts Ju to the hospital. As soon as she's moved, Choi is informed and sends his men to retrieve her. At the hospital, Ju receives treatment. A doctor stitches the wound on her arm, the same injury caused by Captain Cha's gunshot. Assisting the doctor is a nurse Jo recognizes instantly, the same woman she once found unconscious during a drug operation. The nurse recognizes her too. Meanwhile, Pildu visits the captain, and finally the truth comes out. It wasn't Ju who attacked him, it was Choi. And more importantly, Choi was the one who killed her father 5 years ago. Her father had been an undercover agent all along. Back at the hospital, Ju manages to unlock her handcuffs. The nurse notices, but instead of raising an alarm, she quietly hands Ju her car keys and tells her to leave through another door. Ju tries to slip away, but just as she moves, police officers enter. A fight breaks out, and she manages to knock them all unconscious before escaping. Disguised in a doctor's uniform, she reaches the parking lot, but Pildu and other officers are already there. Before they can stop her, Choi's hitmen arrive, trying to take her. A chaotic fight follows. Ju and Pildu fight them off together, steal a car, and speed away. The hitmen chase them, but eventually they lose them and escape. They call Choi to confirm they survived. Night falls as Pildu pulls over near a quiet house by the beach, his friend's private place. Inside, he removes Ju's handcuffs. Her arm is still bleeding, and he carefully bandages it. Then he tells her something simple, but powerful, that she doesn't have to fight alone, that he will always be with her. And in that quiet moment, after everything they've been through, their feelings begin to grow deeper. finding a rare sense of comfort in each other's presence. Meanwhile, Choi sits alone in his house, whispering to himself with quiet bitterness that he has never betrayed anyone, yet somehow everyone ends up betraying him. Just then, his lawyer rushes in, warning him that the captain is awake and coming with a warrant, telling him he needs to run. But Choi doesn't move. Instead, he raises his gun and says that ever since the day he saved that man on the road, his life belonged to him. And now, either he dies, or the captain does. Terrified, the lawyer leaves immediately. The next morning, Ju and Pildu are driving toward the station. For a moment, everything feels calm. Pildu smiles and tells her that after this case, she'll be known everywhere. Ju quietly replies that she's ready, but in the very next second, everything shatters. Choi suddenly appears and opens fire. Pildu is hit. Before Ju can react, Choi disappears. She watches Pildu collapse right in front of her, the one person she trusted after losing her father. In that moment, her entire world breaks again. Crying, shaking, she picks up Pildu's gun and walks away, consumed by grief. Choi had taken everything from her, once again. Without hesitation, Ju heads straight to Choi's fortified building. She orders the guards to open the gate, and the moment she steps inside, chaos begins. She fights her way through the hallways, facing wave after wave of Choi's men. The battle is brutal. She's wounded, exhausted, but she doesn't stop. One by one, she takes them down, driven by nothing but pain and rage. Choi, already waiting, knows she's coming. When Ju finally enters his room, she locks the door behind her. For a moment, it's just the two of them. Choi looks at her calmly and tells her that her father was weak, that he had chances to kill him but never had the strength. Then he steps closer and challenges her, asking if she has the courage to show what she has become, if she is like him now. His voice is cold as he tells her that she will become a monster. Ju steps forward, her eyes burning, and answers that she already has. And in that instant, the fight begins. It's violent, raw, and personal. Two people who shaped each other's darkness now tearing each other apart. Their knives clash again and again. Choi attacks, Ju counters. Both are bleeding. Both refuse to fall. Suddenly, Choi grabs the gun from the floor and pulls the trigger, but it's empty. In that split second, Ju surges forward and drives her blade deep into his chest. Choi gasps, stumbling back, and she twists the knife, ending it. The man who controlled her life, who killed her father, who turned her into a weapon, collapses at her feet. Ju stands there, shaking, covered in blood, but still standing. She has destroyed everything he built. Then, without saying a word, she turns and walks away, leaving the building behind in silence. Ju had endured a lifetime of pain. She was judged because of her father, then lost him. She suffered through years of brutal training, learning to survive in a world where she had no one. And just when she finally found someone she cared about, Pildu, she lost him too. Piece by piece, everything human inside her had been taken away. By the end, she wasn't just fighting anymore. She was surviving a world that had already broken her long before she became what everyone feared. Thank you for staying till the end of this story. Please consider subscribe, because it takes a lot of efforts and time. Thank you.